Hello, it's Linda here and Minna. Minna is here on my lap as well. There she is, little cuddle pie. And welcome to day 13 of Lunchtime Crochet. It is the perfect day for being surrounded by wool today. It's definitely cold. The air feels icy outside and it's wet. It comes across with squally rain. And then the sun comes out for a little bit and then it comes across with some more squally rain and it just feels so nice in the studio. Hello, do you want some attention, do you? Do you? So before we dive into seeing how the Midnight Garden and the Macarla Blanket are made, just a little bit of housekeeping. So with restrictions easing in Melbourne and lockdown easing in Melbourne tomorrow night, which is so exciting, you guys have made a huge sacrifice that has meant so much to everybody that's not in Melbourne, and we appreciate it so much. And I hope these sessions have brought a little bit of creative happiness to you. So with that easing tomorrow night, this is our second last Lunchtime Crochet. So we will have one tomorrow as well. But tomorrow I've got an appointment at lunchtime. So we'll do it at 10 a.m. So if you're not able to join us live at 10 a.m., it'll be available. The recording will be available for you to watch on the Homely Lass blog and then on the Facebook page as well. So just a little bit of housekeeping there before I forget. But if you are joining me live today, say hi in the comments if you're in Facebook. And if you're in, what's the other thing called? Zoom, say hi in the chat and pop your questions in there as well. And I'm just adjusting my screen so I can see all the important things. Yes, I think we're right. Minis, you've got to go down because I've got to stand up and show you what these blankets look like. So the reason why we're talking about both the Midnight Garden and the Macarla Blanket today is they use the same stitch. And I'll show you how to do that later on. So yesterday with the Bliss Blanket, we looked at double crochet through the front loop. And today we'll look at double crochet through the back loop. Now that's the UK terminology, and single crochet through the back loop is the US terminology. But even though they use the same hook, the same hook and the same stitch, they look different. And I will show you why. You can see that for yourself shortly. So this, we'll start with the Midnight Garden Blanket because it is the more simpler of the two. Here we go. So that's the Midnight Garden Blanket. And so this is made with the 25mm crochet hook that we made the Warm Heart Blanket with. And it has this amazing drape. And it feels so nice. So it has these gorgeous colors striped through it. And it's the same stitch along the entire length of the row. So similar to how the Bliss Blanket is the same stitch all the way along. This one is 2. And so different stitch, different texture, and then playing with the colors, which makes it a bit of fun. And a really good opportunity to practice your joins and getting a really nice even color transition at the edges. And I show you how to do that in the online course in Blanket School. So that's the Midnight Garden Blanket. I'm going to pop it over here. And then the Macarla Blanket, this is it here. So it is same stitch, but completely different. So you can see it has a border of stitches running one way. And then in the center, it has a centerpiece and the stitches run perpendicular. And I forgot to put my big light on. That would be better. So it's actually how it's constructed. And I'll put it to the side as well. So the Macarla Blanket has a unique construction method. So we do the border first in 4 parts, and then we do the middle part. So the infill is what I call it. So the border, we do the bottom first, and then we go up one side, and then we go up the other side. So they're all joined. So that becomes one piece. So bottom and 2 sides. And then across the top is joined as well. So the border is one continuous piece done in 4 parts. And then we do the middle part is done in at the end. Yeah, so it's a really interesting construction. You do need to think with that one. There's a few little places you just got to you've got to definitely have some nice quiet time to sit down and watch the videos and work through that. Just, yeah, so I show you exactly what to do, but it is like you just need to have that quiet concentration time, and then the rest is beautiful. Just sink into the stitches, crocheting. So in terms of order of making the blankets, I say do the warm heart blanket first, and then do the bliss blanket, just to build up your confidence and that mind-hand connection thing with doing the stitches and crocheting. Then move into the Midnight Garden blanket and start introducing the color changes and getting more confident with doing those. And then I'd say do the Macarla blanket, or before the Macarla blanket, you could do the Wrapped in Love blanket, which is the one we're just kicking off now. We start crocheting that in blanket school, not this Saturday. The crocheting starts next Saturday. So about the 20th. I don't know if it's the 20th or, but somewhere there, roughly speaking, it's a Saturday. Yeah, so maybe Wrapped in Love blanket, and then Macarla blanket, just because Macarla blanket with the different parts and the different pieces, it is a little bit more fiddly and a little bit more tricky, and just that extra confidence helps with making it an enjoyable making process, which is why we crochet. Very important. So there we go. Yes, so you actually have access with the free blanket school account to those first crocheting lessons of everything in all the blanket courses in blanket school, or the ones that are available, because the Wrapped in Love first crocheting lesson isn't available yet. But the bliss blanket, the what's it called? The bliss blanket, the Midnight Garden blanket, and the Macarla blanket, and the other blankets there. You've got access to that first crocheting class. So if you want to go and see how it's made and what the videos are like, you definitely can. And if you have really enjoyed the Lunchtime Crochet and having the regular making tasks and making along with some other people and having the excellent videos to follow, and then having someone to ask for help from, we'd love for you to join us as a premium student. You can either be a maker, a blanket school maker, or a premium student. And the premium student has the added bonus of being able to book a one-on-one crochet help session with me, as well as you get the weekly tasks. We've got a dedicated VIP Facebook group, and there is that 20% off everything at Homely Lass as well in the online shop. But I got sidetracked. Let's have a look at how to crochet the stitches in both the Midnight Garden blanket and the Macarla blanket. So I'm going to flip my camera on and change the camera so you can see my hands. Here we go. Oh, one more thing to turn on. That's better. Voila, there's my hands. Okay, so I actually didn't start this one off beforehand like I did yesterday. I did get the yarn out and the crochet hook. So I'm going to use the 25mm crochet hook, or the U size, which is the one we use for the warm heart blanket, 2 stitch markers, and I've got some of the Homely Bliss yarn. This is our chunky Australian merino wool yarn, super chunky yarn. And it's fully grown and processed in Australia. So there's no offshore processing with this one, which I absolutely love. And this is the mushroom color. So it's a kind of, it's a mauvey purple with a gorgeous gray undertone, and it is just lovely. So let's do a slip knot. So do a slip knot first, and then we'll chain. Let's chain maybe 5 stitches. No, let's go 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I've just got a foundation chain there. So I'm just doing a sample piece. The number of chain stitches really doesn't matter. And then I'm going to do a row of standard double crochet. So that's double crochet UK terminology and double crochet UK terminology, single crochet in US terminology. And that has a single chain stitch for the turning chain and then 7 stitches across. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go yarn out. 5, 6, 7, and then turn. Okay, so now we will start doing the first row of the double crochet through the back loop in UK terminology, which is the single crochet through the back loop in US terminology. So it also starts with a single chain at the edge for the turning chain, and I forgot to put my stitch markers in, so we'll do that after we do the first and last stitch. So with the Macarla blanket and the Midnight Garden blanket, similar to what we did with the Bliss blanket yesterday, the first and last stitch is done as a standard double crochet UK, single crochet US. So that means the crochet hook goes under both loops of the stitch below. So we do that first. So hook goes under both loops of the stitch below, and then yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below, and then yarn over and through both loops on the hook, and then stitch marker into the edge stitch. And then for the middle stitches, so the ones that aren't at the start or end of the row. Hey Donna, I'm so glad you're joining me. So what you can do with what we do with those, so they're the double crochet through the back loop only and single crochet through the back loop only in the US terminology. And this stitch is also in the Wrapped in Love blanket, which is the new one that we're going to start crocheting in 2 Saturdays time. So with the stitch below, the stitch closest to you is the front loop, and the stitch furthest from you is the back loop. So the hook only goes under the back loop and the front loop just stays out here. So put the hook under the back loop only of the stitch below. So this is the first loop and this is the back loop of the stitch below. And then yarn over and pull that through the stitch below, which gives 2 loops on the hook. And then yarn over and pull that through both loops. And we'll just get to the end of the row and then I'll show you what that looks like. So put the hook into the back loop only of the stitch below, then yarn over and pull that back through the stitch below, which gives 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull that through both loops. So put the hook into the back loop only of the stitch below, and then yarn over and pull that back through the stitch below, which gives 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull that through both loops. And put the hook into the back loop only of the stitch below, yarn over and pull that back through, which gives 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull that through both loops. To get some more yarn out, and put the hook into the back loop only of the next stitch below, and then yarn over and pull that back out of the back loop only, which leaves 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull that through both loops. And that's our middle stitches done. So for the last one, it's a standard double crochet UK or single crochet in US terminology. So the hook goes under both loops of the stitch below, yarn over and pull that back through, which leaves 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull that through both loops. And then the stitch marker goes around both loops of the stitch below, of the stitch that we just did. And if you've made the, what's it called? The Melbourne snood, if you've made that one and you're going, this looks really familiar, that's because that's what we do in the Melbourne snood. It's only 6 stitches across, but it's the same stitch. It's the double crochet UK terminology, single crochet US terminology on the edge stitches, and then the double crochet through the back loop only. UK terminology, which is single crochet through the back loop only, US terminology in the middle. And so what that creates is, this is the front loops that we don't put the hook under. So it creates this nice ridge that once we do a few rows, you'll see these vertical loops become a ridge. So looking at it sideways, there's ridge up with the ridge, and then a valley, and then another up. So it goes up and down. So it actually creates a really beautiful ribbed fabric. And we'll do a few rows just so you can see that. Okay, so turning, get some more yarn out. Okay, and so for the edge stitches, the hook goes, first we do a turning chain, so just one turning chain. And then put the hook in and under both loops of the edge stitches, yarn over and pull that back out. Then yarn over and through both loops. And move the stitch marker up to the top of that stitch. And then for our middle stitches, we're putting the hook under the back loop only. So under the stitch below, yarn over and pull that back through, then yarn over and through both loops. And put the hook under the back loop only, yarn over and pull that back through, which leaves 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and through both loops. And put the hook under the back loop only of the stitch below, yarn over and pull that back through, which gives 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and through both loops. And put the hook into the back loop only, yarn over and pull that back through, yarn over and through both loops. Put the hook under the back loop only, yarn over and pull that back through, yarn over and through both loops. And then for our last stitch, the hook goes under both loops, yarn over and pull that back through, leaves 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and through both of those. And then turn. And we're going to do one more row just so we can see the ribbed fabric really coming to life. Oops, I forgot to move the stitch marker. I was too focused on keeping going. So 1 chain for the turning chain, and then put the hook into both loops of the stitch below, yarn over and pull that back through, and then yarn over and through both loops on the hook, and move the stitch marker up. And then put the hook under the back loop only, yarn over and pull that back through, yarn over and through both loops. Put the hook under the back loop only, yarn over and pull that back through. Yeah, whoops. Oh, that's my delivery guy. Hold on, I will be back in a second. Don't go anywhere. I'm back. Thank you for your patience. Okie dokie. So let's keep going. Let's do that stitch from the start. put the hook under the back loop only, yarn over and pull that back through, yarn over and through both loops. And then put the hook under the back loop only, yarn over and pull that back through, then yarn over and through both loops. And put the hook under the back loop only, yarn over and pull that back through, yarn over and through both loops. Put the hook under the back loop only, yarn over and pull that back through, yarn over and through both loops. And then for the last stitch, the hook goes under both loops, the stitch below, yarn over and pull that back through, and then yarn over and through both loops. And then move the stitch marker up and put it around both legs of the bee. So you can see yesterday when we did the bliss blanket, which was the double crochet through the front loop only, we ended up with a flat fabric that had this amazing patterning to it and texture to it. Whereas today, by putting so it's still a double crochet, but this time it's under the back loop only, it's given us this ribbed fabric like that. And then if we turn that over, so this one's got 2 ribs and a valley in the middle. If we turn that over, we've got 1 rib and 2 valleys either side of it. So it's the reverse of it. And then if we look at this sideways, I don't know if this is going to work necessarily, but here's 1 ridge, here's another ridge, and then the valley in between it, like that. So it creates a really 3-dimensional fabric that's completely different to either the standard double crochet stitch or the double crochet through the front loop only. So this is the stitch that we use all throughout the Midnight Garden blanket and all throughout the Macarla blanket. And because it's so 3-dimensional and using the bigger crochet hook, it feels really squishy, really squishy and lovely and soft. So completely different, creates a completely different blanket to the bliss blanket, but using a similar stitch that feels really enjoyable and amazing to do. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed learning how to do that stitch. And remember, until Sunday, you do have access to that first crocheting lesson of both the Midnight Garden blanket and the Macarla blanket with a free Blanket School membership, which you can get at blanketschool.com. And now I'm just going to change my camera back. And if you've got any questions for me, pop them into the comments or the chat now, and I'll answer those for you. But what we're going to do tomorrow, and remember tomorrow's lunchtime crochet will be at 10 a.m. because I'm sorry, I've got an appointment at 12 noon. So we'll do it at 10 a.m. And if you can't join us live at 10 a.m., the recording will be available for you to watch at 12 noon. So you're not going to miss out. And so tomorrow we're going to look at Donna's just asked, what blanket are you doing next at lunchtime crochet? Good question, Donna, and perfect timing. You always have perfect timing with your questions. I love it. So tomorrow we're going to look at the color exploration blanket, which actually uses a smaller yarn, and it's a tweed yarn. So it's got this amazing texture to it. And so it also uses the double crochet stitches and chain stitches, and then it's got a completely brand new stitch which is called the wrapped extended double crochet stitch, which is lots of fun. And it gives this amazing knobbly texture. So I'm looking forward to showing you what the color exploration blanket looks like tomorrow, and what the tweed yarn looks like, because it's amazing, so amazing. And it's an authentic Irish Donegal tweed, and you can just feel like it's just made with so much love and attention, and the colors in it are just amazing, the flecky colors, and I love crocheting with it. I'm actually crocheting my second color exploration blanket. I'm doing a bigger one this time with it, and I'm almost to the end of crocheting my squares, and I'm gonna miss it when it's done. I might need to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm looking forward to showing you the color exploration blanket tomorrow, the tweed yarn, and then how we do the stitches and how it all comes together. So we'll do that tomorrow at 10 a.m. And so I'll talk to you then. And remember, tomorrow is our last lunchtime crochet with the lockdown easing in Melbourne. So the recordings will still be available for you to watch on the Homely Lass website. And remember, you've got that free access to all the first crocheting lessons in Blanket School until Sunday. And then we'd love for you to join us as a Blanket School student as well. So okay, I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm looking forward to it. Bye.